Locked on Bulls here on Monday night. I'm Matt. That's Big Dave. Up ahead on this episode, we're breaking down this Bulls win 133-119 over LaMelo and the Charlotte Hornets. LaMelo Lonzo was the big hike coming into this game, but tonight was about 30. A 30 burger from the man in the middle, Mr. Nikola Vucevic. We're breaking that down and every nook and cranny of this Bulls win over the Hornets next on a fresh Locked On Bulls. Let's go.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily podcast on the Chicago Bulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Here are your hosts, Matt Peck and Big Dave Watson.
What's up and welcome into Locked On Bulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Matt Peck. You can follow me on Twitter at Bulls_Peck. You can follow my co-host Big Dave at BAW, B-A-W-L Sports. You can follow us at Locked On Bulls. Shoot us a text or leave us a voicemail at 331-979-1369. Big Dave, great way to finish this very daunting November schedule for the Bulls. They get this win, move to 14-8 on the season, 9-7 in that gauntlet of a November month, which, by the way, I believe I saw as part of the pregame show tonight, the Bulls' first 9-win month and their first winning month since December of 2017.
Shut up lying to me. Wow. That is hilarious and depressing at the same time. Wow, dog. We went 9-7 and we're ready to throw a parade out here, man. Wow. But yes, I'm very excited. The Bulls end the month the right way because, like I'm saying, this month was crazy, Matt. Not only were the games tough, but just so many back-to-backs, so much travel, the injuries that were going on. Guys got COVID, guys coming back from injuries. Zach LaVine with the finger. I mean, it's just so much stuff going on, and yet the Bulls still would find a way to win and not just beat regular teams, beat the teams that people say are elite. Great job by the Bulls for having this winning month, man. It was fun.
Yeah, and look, we got to talk about Vucevic's big game. We'll get to that in a minute, but you talk about a challenge that this Hornets team was bringing to you tonight. Coming into this, the Hornets led the NBA in three-point shooting percentage, I believe almost 38% as a team. We have seen PJ Washington burn the Bulls from behind the three-point line before. It seems like every time these teams face up, PJ Washington has a big game, and he started out hot again tonight, 3 of 3 from behind the three-point line, and you were kind of starting to worry about, like, oh, man, Vooch in that defensive system, he's a bad matchup there. They were running all those pick and pops. Bulls weren't fighting over screens. They were dropping around them, and the Hornets were making them pay. But it seemed like, despite the fact that the Hornets put up 119 in this game, when the Bulls needed stops, they were able to make stops. And outside of some hot shooting from PJ Washington and Terry Rozier, who, credit to him, had a monster game tonight, the Bulls got the stops when they needed to.
30, 14, and 5. That's not DeMar DeRozan. That's not Zach LaVine. That's your 7-foot-tall center who plays for the Chicago Bulls, Nikola Vucevic. 12 of 19 from the field. 6 of 6 from the three-point line. I say it again. 6 of 6 from the three-point line. Matt, I know he's not going to shoot like that in every game. I know he's not going to be that perfect, but damn it, if anybody deserved this kind of game shooting, it was Nikola Vucevic. That man has been fricasseed and fried by people on social media. Where's Vooch? What's it going to do? Where's Vooch? Oh, we should trade him. Get him out of there. I'm not exaggerating. This is what was being said. What did Matt not continue to tell you? All he's doing is missing shots. There was nothing we were looking at to say we need to fix mechanics or anything needs to change about game plans. It was like shots just need to start falling, and they will. And when they do, it's going to look awesome. It's going to look like this: 30, 14, and 5, y'all, from your center. That was amazing to watch. I was very, very, very happy for him, man. And he got to start it early. He got to start it very early. First 2 points of the game when he hit that bucket. I said,
little two-man game with Zach LaVine right out of the gate.
I said,
knock down that little elbow jumper. And, he starts to hit some of those looks, early in the game and closer in. And then that confidence starts to extend behind the 3-point line. And like you said, 6 of 6 from downtown for Vuce tonight. But it wasn't even just the scoring for Vuce. Obviously, it's a big help anytime you get that kind of offensive production from him. But the ways in which we've talked about what he, what Tony Bradley could not provide you in Vuce's absence when you talk about passing out of traps or just using, the high post pick and roll action, and Vuce's passing ability to find a cutter on the baseline or swing passes to the weak side. You mentioned he had 5 assists tonight too, and even like some hockey assists tonight where in moments when the Bulls were kind of struggling in their half-court offense, Vuce would get a mismatch, and whether it was, okay, he's got a small on him, and then he hit that little hook shot, just inside the free throw line, or he gets a mismatch, which leads to the Hornets chasing, and Vuce has a good pass that leads to another good pass that leads to an open shot. Whether or not his shot was falling, you always knew that Vuce's presence was important on the offensive end. And you saw more of that tonight because the Bulls, before they went in that drought between the end of the third and the start of the fourth, they had 29 assists on 40 made baskets. And Vuce's presence is a big reason why the Bulls can be that efficient moving the ball on the offensive end.
Oh, that's so well put. And I know it's easy to point to the 6 of 6 3-point shots, but that's not what I was looking at, Matt. He was just punishing those guys inside. And that's what I want from Vuce. And that's what makes him so special. The fact that a guy who can punish you like that on the inside also has the feathery touch from the outside. But man, when he was inside and he had a little person on him. And remember, on this show we just did, that was my main complaint, is how passive Vuce was being the last game. How when smaller guys were on him against Miami, he wasn't going strong. He was just very passive against them. I appreciate him watching this show before he went out there and did his thing. And he said, what, Big Dave out here saying these things? Let me let my man know that I'm up in here and I can do my thing. And I appreciate Vuce going out there and doing that, Matt. It was just beautiful to behold because his touch inside, whether it's right hand or left hand, like you say, those hooks that he has, it's just beautiful. That mid-range shot that he has, just beautiful. They could just run pick and rolls and pick and pops with him all day long. And man, Matt, those assists when he was finding Caruso, when Caruso was cutting, when Caruso would make that cut, just pretty. All right. It was just a beautiful thing to see, man. This was all about Vuce this game, and everything kind of grew from him. And that's what the Bulls have been trying to do this season with Vuce, Matt. Remember, that's why they would go to him so early and so often. It's because they were trying to jumpstart their offense through him. Today, it happened. They jump-started it, and you saw what you got from the rest of the team because of what Vuce did.
Yeah. Shout out real quick to those of you hanging out with us here live on YouTube. Jake Smith said, who would have guessed this all-star center was better than Wendell? Cap of the Great saying, Vuce was like, oh, y'all must have forgotten, gave Charlotte the Montenegrin hot sauce. That's wonderful. I mean, clearly we were all like yearning for a game like this from Vuce, knowing that he has this level in him and just believing that it was just a shooting slump. It was just whatever yips it was. He had, these bunnies he was missing in addition to not knocking down his shots. And clearly those two things are connected. If you, for whatever reason, have a lid on the basket on your layups and your post-ups, you're not going to be confident shooting when you're trying to stretch the floor. This game, hopefully, is a big one to get Vuce back to that confident level, to be that third prong in this Bull scoring attack with Zach and DeMar, who also, by the way, both had 20-plus point nights. We'll talk about them as well as Lonzo in just a minute here. Lots more to get to. But first, I want to tell you all that today's episode is brought to you in part by TrueBill. Let me ask you, Dave, do you know why free trials renew without your consent? Because it's a business scam out to get you and take the dollars out of your pocket. Don't let greedy corporations pocket your money. Download TrueBill to take control of your subscriptions. TrueBill is the new app that helps you identify and stop paying for subscriptions you don't need, want, or simply forgot existed. On average, people save up to $720 a year with TrueBill. You can buy yourself a nice new TV with that kind of money to watch the Bulls on. Because companies make subscriptions hard to cancel, TrueBill makes it incredibly simple. Just link your accounts and TrueBill will cancel your unwanted subscriptions in one simple tap. And your TrueBill concierge is there when you need them to cancel unwanted subscriptions so you don't have to. So don't fall for subscription scams anymore. Start canceling today at TrueBill.com/LockedOnNBA. That's right now, TrueBill.com/LockedOnNBA. It could save you thousands of dollars a year. TrueBill.com/LockedOnNBA. All right, moving along, Big Dave. Interesting that Zach LaVine, kind of out of nowhere, earlier this afternoon, got a questionable tag with a non-COVID related illness. He did end up getting the green light and was in the starting lineup. I just saw a tweet in my feed moments ago, Billy Donovan after the game saying, yeah, he had a fever earlier today. The fever came down a little bit, but you could tell he was not feeling great. He said his eyes were bloodshot. Said heck of an effort for Zach to go in there and get this game, taken care of. I like the fact that when you get that questionable tag and then the player decides to play, you're wondering, are they going to be their fully competent selves? Zach looked to get good looks for his teammates out of the gate tonight. And where, you got Lonzo, you got DeMar and his distributing abilities, you got Caruso, running the point sometimes when he's coming off the bench. Zach had 5 first half assists. And on a night when he's not maybe feeling great, I was worried about Zach trying to force things to compensate for the fact that he wasn't feeling great. But instead, he said, you know what? I'll wait. I'll wait for the game to come to me and get my looks when I can get my looks. But in the meantime, I'm going to get looks for my teammates. And I thought that was a really good decision from Zach in the first half.
You're right about that, man. I saw him early on in the first quarter, I think forced 2 shots. And then it's like he made that decision from that point on. Like, you know what? I don't need to do this. And I think also Vooch hitting his shots helps that decision, helps Zach make that kind of decision. Because you, Matt, when we did this show before, still having his brain, like, I got to do this. I'm the one, because this is what I'm used to doing all the time. So it's very helpful when guys like Vooch just be themselves, because he does. He scores. He puts balls into the bucket. So when he started doing that early and Zach was forcing it and he kind of backed off, he's like, you know what? Vooch got it. You know what? Lonzo got it. You know what? DeMar, get this together. Let me get everybody else involved. Can we talk about how beautiful that pass was? How beautiful.
Oh my goodness.
Beautiful, that slam dunk, Matt. Oh, just so pretty. It looked amazing. It looked wonderful. It was that awesome, man. But Zach LaVine really got it together in the second half. He let that offense come to him. And that was just really great to see, because that's growth from Zach LaVine. We want to see from a guy who would like, this is the dude that you're going to your max player. This is the guy that's going to be your guy. Those are the things you like seeing, man. Zach let that game kind of come to him. And that's something we've been wanting him to do for a long time. And he definitely did it tonight. And it looked really, really good.
I mean, I'm with you. And one of those shots in particular that I think you were talking about was that like double turnaround fadeaway that he shot that was short off the front of the rim. And you're like, Zach, those are those shots where you're like, Zach, you've got help. You don't need to take those kind of shots anymore. But he was able, for the most part, to refocus and then pick his spots. He attacked the rim ferociously a couple of times tonight, where he was like, oh, y'all are so concerned about the game that Vooch is having or the game that DeMar is having that you're just going to give me the lane right now? Or you're going to give me the baseline right now? Cool. I'm Zach LaVine. I'm about to dunk on your face. On your face. Which, and that I think is the big thing when you talk about a game like tonight where Vooch finally shows up like that offensively. And it's something that Vooch and DeMar and Zach all talked about throughout training camp leading up to this season with this new trio of star caliber players, none of them having to be that guy every single night and having the luxury of, all right, you know what? Tonight, Zach's fighting a little bit of a bug, whatever it is, or tonight, DeMar's shot isn't falling, whatever that is. Vooch being that third option and not having to necessarily rely on a night where, like, you need Lonzo to hit 6 or 7 threes, or you need 22 points from Caruso, like Saturday against the Heat, to stay in that game. That's why you brought Vooch here. And guess what? Most nights, Vooch is going to have fewer shots than Zach and DeMar. But if he has, as we all believe he has, accepted and embraced that role of, I don't have to shoulder the burden that I did for all of those seasons in Orlando, and I'm cool with that. But guess what? On nights where, hey, Zach, you're not feeling hot, I got this. And I think that despite it being a 12-game sample and then missing games because of health and safety protocol, Bulls fans were so quick to forget that Vooch does exist and can be a humongous asset to this team.
Colossal. And the other reason, Matt, that he's a super huge asset is, guess who got the night off tonight? Tony Bradley. You did not see him out there. I'm telling you guys, he's going to be important because he's your big man off the bench. Since I'm forgetting it. The Hornets. Since the Hornets don't run a lot of bigs out there, you can say Tony Bradley have the night off because Vooch is cooking. And Vooch is out there cooking. It's just lineups and how they run. Now I could bring in Derrick Jones Jr., his breather. You know, my favorite part of that game, Matt, was when they started making their run in that fourth quarter. I'm talking about the Hornets. They started making that run in that fourth quarter, and they got that lead down to 4. And when they got it down to 4, I said, now this is the time that you bring Vooch back in and you take that lead right back up. At that, when they were at the free throw line, substitute Nikola Vucevic came walking right on in. What the Bulls do? Quick 7-0 run, go right back up, and they never looked back after that. It's vitally important, man. Y'all got to understand how important Vucevic is to this team. I'm sure a lot, but you can't give up on a dude just because he's missing wide open shots that he's been hitting his whole career. It's going to fall. It's going to work. And when I'm not saying it's going to be 30 and 15 and 5 every single time. It's going to look good on a lot of nights. And the other thing I want to point out, 2 more things I want to point out, Matt. One thing, 83 points by the Bulls' big three. DeMar, Zach, Vooch. 83 of your 133 points tonight. The other important thing, rest. Because now they don't play again until Thursday. This is, and they're at home. This is it. They don't have to travel. They can just go home and get themselves some rest and get away from the game for a little bit. It's beautiful.
It is nice. They'll head to New York, I'm guessing, on Wednesday and then face the Knicks at the Garden on Thursday. But even still, having that extra day of rest after just this brutal schedule that they managed to get themselves through. And again, kudos to the Bulls. When you looked at that November schedule and said, if the Bulls come out of that 14-8 on the season, 9-7 in the month of November, even though the Bulls coughed up some games they probably should have won, obviously blowing the lead against Portland was a bad one. Losing to Houston, obviously a bad one. Could we be talking about 16-6 instead of 14-8? Sure. But you took care of business and had a winning record in a month with a lot of road games and a lot of difficult opponents. So kudos to the Bulls for that. I do want to talk a little bit more about that zone defense that the Bulls saw from Charlotte when they were kind of letting go of the rope a little bit late in this game when it looked like the Bulls were going to run away with it. And we will do that in just a minute. But first, Big Dave, if people wanted to put some fun bets here and there on that Bulls Hornets game from tonight, maybe they want to put some fun bets on the Bulls Knicks game on Thursday. Tell the people where to go.
Why not put something on the Monday night football game that was going something on that too? But there's only one place you can do it. And it's your number one spot for all when it comes to betting. And that is Bet Online, y'all. It's the holiday season. So it's time to get your money right. And that means in the to the playoffs is on the way. So BetOnline has you covered on more odds and more lines than ever before as you go to the playoffs and the Bulls go into that December. So head to the new website, head to that, sign up today and receive welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use that promo code LOCKED ON to receive your bonus. That's LOCKED, and you will receive your bonus. Basketball, football, boxing, hockey, UC, don't matter. Don't take advantage. Take advantage of all the and yours on this 2021 season. Bet online. Just wait to bet all of your favorite online where the game starts. Sports.
All right, moving along, breaking down this Bulls win over the Hornets here from Monday night. Bulls 14-8 on the season. Fried Rice in the YouTube comments saying Vooch is also our only hope of beating the zone. Big Dave, you and I talked about this earlier today on our Monday episode about how important Vooch's presence is in that half-court offense when the Bulls see their opponents throw that zone defense at them. You saw the Heat give us a lot of zone problems on Saturday in that tight loss, and then the Bulls were picking the Hornets apart throughout that third quarter, building at one point as much as a 23-point lead. And again, I mentioned the 29 assists on 40 made baskets once they had that 23-point lead late in the third quarter. The ball was moving. People were cutting. People were finding open teammates. It was beautiful. Then all of a sudden, James Borrego brings that zone back, and it's like the Bulls just don't know what to do. And it's a lot of ISO, Zach, DeMar, whoever it is out there. But to me, it's like it's overcomplicating something that's not that complicated. Yes, there are certain issues that you will face when all of a sudden your opponent switches to his own defense. But the key to me is still just moving without the ball. And I don't know why, for whatever reason, in this recent stretch of games, that when the Bulls all of a sudden are facing a zone, everybody stops moving. Like, I and again, Vooch is critically important to that. And sometimes, whether it's just a slip screen or if he's confident knocking shots down, being able to stretch the floor like that, or, as our buddy Jason Pat pointed out in a reply to one of my tweets, it's like, yeah, also beating the zone would be a lot easier if Kobe isn't breaking wide open threes. And then finally, Kobe knocks down a timely shot. But what do you make of this recent stretch of games where opponents flash a bunch of zone at the Bulls and their offense comes to a grinding halt?
It lets me know that teams are now taking the Bulls seriously. That's step one. They know that the Bulls are something they have to worry about. Great job also by the Hornets for saving that zone until fourth quarter. You know what I'm saying? Because they implemented it earlier, but they kind of quarter to sneak it in on them. And it worked to their credit. It definitely worked to perfection. Okay. But the way you beat the zone is by shooting and by scoring. And that is the way you're going to beat the zone, guys, every single time. That's why I thought very awesome what Billy Donovan did with Kobe White binding that fourth quarter. Because remember, Kobe White, to that point, I think he was 0 for 4, had like 2 points, and they were both from the free throw line.
He was having a rough night.
He was having a rough night. But then all of a sudden, Kobe in the fourth. Because again, remember, when Kobe starts balling, it's high, but it seems like it's in the fourth quarter when it starts going down for Kobe. The Roy Williams game, that was the fourth quarter. When Kobe hit those 8 threes or something like that, that was another fourth quarter. Like, Kobe loves getting down in the fourth quarter. I don't know. Well, it was very awesome that you saw him show up like that on that big 3-point. Even that 3-point shot he missed, Matt, in the fourth quarter. That thing went in.
Right.
And it just rimmed out. But man, he hit that. He got that breakaway layup. And can I please, Matt, and you laughed at me when I talked about this before, but can we talk about Kobe White defense? Can we talk about him being better defensively? He is better defensively. He is not getting lost. He's not getting lost on those screens. He was getting beat up on those screens last year. That's not happening this year. The angles that he's taking to play defense. That ankle he took on Terry breakaway for an easy 2 points. That angle Kobe White took and the way he stuck his shoulder out to not let him get to the bucket was beautiful. I'm telling you, that is all Alex Caruso. But Kobe White is really, and Mo Cheeks. Let me shout out Mo Cheeks. I don't want to leave him out of this either. But he has been so much better defensively, and that's also what's keeping him on the floor too.
Yeah, and look, I think there are plenty of Bulls fans right now who, if Kobe is not hitting his shots, and I've seen people talking about it on Twitter wondering like, hey, are there certain moments, especially in the second half of games, why is Kobe out there and not Io? Io was out there for, certain stretches tonight doing his thing, knocked down, a big corner three at one point that I can recall. But a lot of Bulls fans already kind of in favor of, Io's been playing great and he's a fun surprise as a second round pick. Maybe not a surprise to people who are watching him play at U of I for all those seasons.
Right.
And maybe having not as much patience with letting Kobe build his game back. You and I have been firmly entrenched in the camp of people who, despite his struggles coming back midway through that West Coast trip, saying, guys, give Kobe some time. Instead of talking about what can we get for Kobe White in a trade, talk about what can we see Kobe build back into his game on a night-to-night basis. And while I am not as exuberant about his defensive performance as you might be, I will grant you that it has been noticeably better. There are still moments where Kobe's defense makes me shake my head, and sure. It's really too bad. There was that one moment defensively from Kobe tonight where he came over, helped defense from the top of the key, and had that block from behind, and it looked like a clean block, and he got whistled for maybe some body contact, and you could tell Kobe was upset. He went running down to the other end of the floor like, I thought I was going to get that one. But, again, and I think I remember seeing this quote from Kobe after one of their games recently when he was asked about his defense, and he said, well, look, I showed up and we got all these new teammates, and I see Lonzo out there and Caruso out there doing their thing. I've seen Zach up his defensive game, and I kind of was like, well, I guess I should join the party and bring my own A game, at least from an effort standpoint on the defensive end. And guess what? You're seeing a similar thing from DeMar DeRozan this season. Look, does DeMar still get, caught playing off ball occasionally? Sure. Does DeMar still get beat one-on-one occasionally? Sure. But DeMar had some big defensive plays tonight. When the Bulls were trying to hold off that Hornets rally at one point, I recall DeMar had an amazing hand in a passing lane pass breakup when the Hornets were trying to cut the lead down from 6-4 or 4-2 or whatever it was. Even just those moments of effort. I might not be a defensive specialist, but what I won't do is be okay with the fact that my teammates are putting more effort on the defensive end than I am on a nightly basis. And whether it's DeMar, whether it's Kobe, it's nice to see guys just, collectively accept the fact that, hey, Billy wants us to be a dominant defensive team. And we all understand that it is critical for us to score. Because what happened when the Bulls let the Hornets creep back into that game? A Lonzo steal and then a beautiful Lonzo full court pass to an easy bucket gave the Bulls some breathing room, and that sparked an 11-2 run after they let that lead dwindle down to 4. The defense sparks the offense, and it doesn't work unless every of the 5 on that floor are bought in for all 48 minutes.
And I mean, also, Matt, let's credit Javonte Green as well, because he was also really awesome defensively in what he did out there tonight. That block he had when he threw that off. Oh my God. That was some special stuff right there, man. Javonte Green has been really, really good. Just matching up with these guys who are bigger than him. I don't understand, but he doesn't know it. It's like nobody's told him that this dude is smaller than everybody. He's just like, nope, I can jump higher than everybody. So it really doesn't matter. I'm going to go ahead and do this. Yeah, it's contagious, Matt. The defense is contagious. It's what it is, because you can't, everybody wants to be an offensive stud. Offense is contagious because everybody wants to hit shots. Everybody wants to go 100% from the field, but you can't control that. You can control your effort. You can control you fighting over screens. You can control your communication on the floor when you're when you see a trap coming, when you see a pick coming. You can control those things by just putting in your effort, by just trying, man. And I love what I'm seeing. And I love the fact that Kobe White said that, because it felt like you could see that. You know what I'm saying? You can see that thing happening. And man, again, shout out to Mo Cheeks, shout out to Billy Donovan, Caruso, and who's leading the league in steals. I know Sabine don't like that, but he's leading the league in steals, man, and he's looking good. And shout out to him and Lonzo Ball, man, because those guys are truly influencing not just starters, as you mentioned, Zach and DeMar, but everybody coming into that game to play. They know that they've got to play defense, because if you want to have fun, you got to get the ball.
Man, I'm still seeing plenty of Kobe slander in our YouTube comments here, Dave. I mean,
it's gonna keep continuing, baby. It's all good.
I get it, but you can't deny the 20-point night in Orlando. You can't deny the big game he had in the Bulls win at home over the Knicks a couple of weeks ago. Did he have a tough night tonight? Yes. Is he working his way back in? Yes, but wow, yeah. There's still plenty of people who are like, don't play him over Io and / trade him yesterday. Bulls fans, man.
All right.
Bulls fans are a special group of people. Let's wrap. Let's wrap with this, Big Dave. Any particular takeaways or thoughts you had on the Lonzo LaMelo showdown? LaMelo had himself a night. I think he had like 16 and 13 assists or something. Like Lonzo.
Yeah.
It was fun for me to see Lonzo D up LaMelo on some occasions tonight, and I thought also that Lonzo got some BS calls against him when he was D'ing up his little brother one-on-one. But what was your takeaway from the Ball brothers showdown?
Oh man, well, first of all, I call it the Ball. So the Ball Bowl was everything I wanted it to be. I mean, you had LaMelo getting 18, 7, and 13, and then you getting his 16 and 8. He was 6 of 8, but 4 of 5 from the 3-point line. Also, the biggest play of the Ball Bowl was the 3-point shot that Lonzo hit to ice it, go home. That shot he hit on the base.
That
get
left
out.
Corner 3.
You don't live here.
Yeah.
Go home. Go home. I loved every second of it. He played great defense. He even had a block on his brother. You know what I'm saying? He had a block on LaMelo. That was really, really awesome, man. But yeah, it was some B2, man, thinking of that they had on Lonzo, man. But I enjoyed it. Man, LeVar Ball was in the stands with the "I told you so" hat on. You know he was feeling good, baby. You know he was feeling good. So shout out to that entire family, man. But the Ball Bowl lived, and it was awesome.
It was fun. It's cool to see those moments where you got siblings or cousins or even like brother from another mother stuff like DeMar and Kyle Lowry from the Bulls Heat game on Saturday, because you can always kind of tell that those guys get up for those games and in a way that, like, you saw Lonzo trying to clamp down LaMelo every chance he got, which was a lot of fun. All right, that's gonna be it for tonight. So this will be our Tuesday episode. If you're hanging out with us live on YouTube, we appreciate you. Otherwise, you'll be listening to this on Tuesday. We'll be back on Wednesday with a fresh episode. Maybe we'll do a little Knicks preview. Maybe we'll take some mailbag. Who knows what we'll do? But if you want to be a part of this show, hit us up on that text to voicemail line 331-979-1369. November is over, Dave, and the Bulls are 14-8 and second in the East. How about that?
That's all I got to say.
In the meantime, you can always chat with us on Twitter. I'm at Bulls_Peck. Big Dave is at BAL, BAWL Sports. We are at Locked on Bulls. Until next time, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to us on our YouTube channel if you aren't already. We will talk to you next time. For Big Dave, I'm Matt saying, see red, be good. Peace out.
Sorry about my internet, guys.